A very good afternoon and thank you for joining us on BTV Global News at 12. I am Ruth Ogbodu and now the news in detail. Residents along the coast of Veracruz, Mexico, are raising concerns following the appearance of oil along several local beaches, a development that has begun to disrupt tourism activities and fishing operations in the region. The report.
The contamination was first noticed earlier this week when dark patches of oil washed ashore on parts of the coastline. Local fishermen and tourism operators say the spill has already started affecting their daily activities as visitors avoid polluted beaches and fishing efforts slow down due to fears of contaminated waters. Communities living near the coast are particularly worried about the potential impact on the nearby lagoon where many residents farm fish and shrimp. The lagoon serves as a critical source of income and food for several villages in the area. If the oil reaches the lagoon, residents say it could destroy aquatic life and threaten the livelihoods of hundreds of families who depend on aquaculture. Local fishermen report that some boats have stopped going out to sea, while others are reducing their catch out of concern that seafood could become contaminated. Tourism operators also say bookings have begun to decline as images of oil-stained sand circulate on social media. Environmental groups have warned that oil spills in coastal regions affecting marine life, birds, and sensitive ecosystems such as mangroves and lagoons. Experts say the cleanup process could take weeks or even months, depending on the volume of oil involved. Authorities in Veracruz have begun investigating the source of the spill and assessing the extent of the damage. Environmental response teams have reportedly been deployed to monitor the coastline and begin containment and cleanup efforts. For residents whose income depend on fishing and tourism, the situation is creating uncertainty. Many say they are hoping for a quick response from the government and oil industry officials to prevent the pollution from spreading further into nearby waters. The Veracruz coastline is an important economic zone for Mexico's fishing and tourism sectors, and local communities say protecting the lagoon and surrounding marine environment is critical to their survival. Naomi Ewere reporting from BTV News.
For Mexico Security Chief Omar Geisha Afosh, the operation that led to the death of notorious drug lord Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes was more than just another security mission. It was deeply personal. The reports.
Harford, who has long been at the forefront of Mexico's battle against organized crime, played a key role in operation targeting the leader of the powerful Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG. The cartel, led for years by Oseguera Cervantes, widely known as El Mencho, has been blamed for extreme violence, drug trafficking, and attacks on security forces across Mexico. According to security officials, the operation involved months of intelligence gathering and coordination among federal forces. Authorities tracked movements of the cartel leader before launching a carefully planned raid aimed at dismantling the group's leadership structure. The mission ultimately resulted in the death of El Mencho, marking one of the most significant blows against organized crime in recent years. For Harford, the outcome carried personal weight. In 2020, while serving as Mexico City's police chief, he survived a dramatic assassination attempt, widely believed to have been ordered by the CJNG. Gunmen ambushed his convoy in Mexico City, firing hundreds of rounds in a brazen daylight attack that left several people dead. Harford was seriously injured but survived. Following the attack, Harford publicly accused the cartel of orchestrating the assault. Since then, he has been one of the most prominent figures in Mexico's security crackdown on the group and its leadership.
Both his father and his grandfather have been members of, or key members of the security forces for a number of decades.
Security analysts say the elimination of El Mencho could significantly disrupt the CJNG, which has grown into one of Mexico's most powerful and violent criminal organizations. The cartel has expanded its operations far beyond its base in the western states of Jalisco, building networks across Mexico and internationally. Mexican authorities say the operation reflects a broader strategy to weaken cartels by targeting their leadership and financial networks. Officials also stress that dismantling organized crime requires sustained intelligence works and coordination among federal, state, and local forces. While the death of El Mencho is seen as a major victory, security experts caution that cartel violence in Mexico is unlikely to disappear quickly. Power struggles within criminal groups often follow the removal of a leader, potentially triggering further clashes. Still, for Harford, the operation represents a significant milestone in the long fight against organized crime and a moment that carries both professional and personal significance. Evelyn Isibli reporting for Beetv News.
Israel Defense Minister Israel Katz has revealed that Israel made a decision in November to assassinate Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, months before the operations that eventually killed him. The report.
According to Katz, the decision was taken during a closed high-level security meeting that included Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and a small group of senior officials. During the meeting, Netanyahu reportedly said the objective of eliminating Khamenei as part of Israel's broader strategy against Iran. Katz explained that the plan was originally scheduled to be carried out around mid-2026, roughly 6 months after the decision was made. However, the timeline later changed as tension escalated in the Middle East and protests erupted inside Iran, raising fears that Tehran could launch attacks on Israel or United States interests in the region. The strategy was eventually discussed with Washington and preparations accelerated. The assassination occurred during the opening hours of a large-scale joint U.S.-Israeli air campaign targeting Iranian leadership and military infrastructure. The killing of Khamenei marked a historic moment, as it was the first time a sitting national leader was reportedly killed in an airstrike during a coordinated military operation. The attack triggered a wider regional conflict, with Iran retaliatory strikes against Israeli targets and U.S. military bases in the Middle East. Israel has repeatedly stated that its actions are aimed at eliminating what is called the existential threat posed by Iran's nuclear program and ballistic missile development. Tehran, however, has commended the strikes and vowed continued retaliation, increasing fears of a broader war in the region. Zainab Mohammed reporting for Beetv News.
Newly released video footage from a deadly mass shooting in Austin, Texas, shows the suspect pointing a rifle while walking through a parking lot moments before police officers opened fire to stop the attack. The report.
Authorities released body camera recording, surveillance video, and emergency call audio that captured the chaotic moment during the shooting outside a busy bar in the city downtown entertainment district. The incident occurred early Sunday on West Street, a popular nightlife area known for bars and music venues. The video shows the suspect, identified by police as 53-year-old Indiaga Diagne, moving through a nearby parking lot carrying an AR-15 style rifle. At one point, the suspect raises the weapon and appears to aim it at a passerby as people nearby flee for safety. Body camera footage from responding officers shows police rushing toward the scene as crowds run and hide. Officers can be heard shouting commands such as "everybody down" while searching for the gunman. Moments later, gunshots ring out as officers confront the suspect. According to police, the suspect had already fired multiple shots into a crowd gathered outside a bar before officers arrived. Authorities say the attack began around 1:58 a.m. when the gunman fired a semi-automatic pistol from a vehicle at Patron outside the bar. After the initial shooting, the suspect reportedly parked his vehicle nearby, retrieved a rifle, and began walking back towards the area while continuing to fire at people on the street. Witnesses and bystanders directed officers towards the suspects as they responded to the emergency call. Police say officers encountered the suspect minutes later and exchanged gunfire with him. The suspect was shot and killed at the scene after he fired towards officers. The shooting left 3 people dead and more than a dozen others injured. Many of the victims were standing outside the bar or walking nearby when the gun erupted. Officials say police arrived less than a minute after the first emergency call, and investigators believe the quick response helped prevent additional casualties. Austin Police Chief Lee Savis said the video shows officers running towards danger and acting quickly to stop the attacker. Federal authorities, including the FBI, are assisting in the investigation, examining whether the attack could be linked to terrorism. Investigators are continuing to review evidence and the newly released footage as part of ongoing probe. Authorities have urged anyone with additional video or information related to the shooting to contact police as the investigation continues. Favor Kolawole reporting for Beetv News.
The United States government is considering unusual financial market interventions to curb rising energy prices triggered by the ongoing conflict with Iran, according to a senior White House official. The report.
The Department of the Treasury is expected to announce measures aimed at easing the surge in fuel costs, including potential actions in the oil future markets. The move would mark a rare attempt by Washington to influence energy prices through financial markets rather than directly increasing oil supply. Global oil prices have risen sharply since tensions escalated in the Middle East. The conflict has disrupted energy supplies and tanker traffic in key shipping routes, particularly the Strait of Hormuz, which carries roughly 1/5 of the world's oil shipments. The disruption has fueled fears of broader supply shortages and pushed crude prices significantly higher. Since the conflict began in late February, U.S. crude futures have surged by nearly 21%, while the national average price of gasoline has climbed by about 27 cents per gallon, reaching around $3.25. The rapid increase in fuel price has raised concern about inflation and the potential economic impact on households and businesses. Analysts say the Treasury's possible intervention could involve financial tools designed to counter speculations in oil markets. By taking positions in the future markets, the government could attempt to dampen price volatility and discourage traders from driving price higher during periods of geopolitical tension. However, experts warn that such measures may have limited effects if physical supply disruption continue. In addition to financial market actions, the U.S. government has taken steps to ease supply constraints by granting waivers that allow some companies to purchase sanctioned Russian crude oil. The waivers have allowed refiners, particularly in India, to buy millions of barrels of oil stored offshore, helping to stabilize supply in global markets. Despite the surge, analysts note that current oil price remains only slightly above their 4 years average, suggesting that markets are still assessing the long-term impact of the conflict. The details of the Treasury's proposed measure have not yet been disclosed, but officials say the plan aims to blunt the economic and political consequences of rising fuel prices while the geopolitical situation in the Middle East continues to evolve. Evelyn Isibile reporting for Beetv News.
And now to the entertainment news. Veteran entertainer Charlie Boy surprised former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo on his 89th birthday, creating a heartwarming moment that delighted guests. And also, Portable throws shade at Kata Efe ahead of boxing match. Let's join Evelyn Isibili for more details.
In a video shared online, Charlie Boy carried a large gift box on his head as he made his way to Obasanjo, prompting laughter and applause from those in attendance. He described the celebration as lively and joyful, noting that the gesture reminded him of his late father, who had been a close friend of the former president. In another development, controversial singer Portable has intensified the hype around his upcoming boxing match with skit maker Kata Efe. In a viral video, he mocked Kata Efe and Small Doctor, claiming their training would not be enough to save them in the ring. Portable also referenced a past confrontation with Small Doctor, claiming it inspired the rapper to start boxing. He warned Kata Efe to find a better coach and insisted he would emerge victorious. Fans have flooded social media with reactions, memes, and predictions. Portable's confident remarks had fueled excitement, turning the matchup into one of the most talked about celebrity boxing events online. Cillian Murphy described the devotion of Peaky Blinders fan as wonderfully humbling as he returns as Tommy Shelby in the new film Peaky Blinders: The Immortal Man. The movie continues the story of the Shelby family 13 years after the TV series began. The film features new cast members, including Barry Keoghan, Rebecca Ferguson, and Tim Roth, adding fresh energy to the series. Murphy said returning to the role was both nostalgic and rewarding, highlighting fans' loyalty. Creator Stephen Knight emphasized the importance of the fans, noting the 2 weeks theoretical release allows audiences to watch together in person before the film streams on Netflix on 20th March. The film celebrates the series' enduring global impact. And that's it on the entertainment news. Evelyn Isabelle reporting for Beetv News.
And now to sports. Galatasaray President Dursun Özbek has confirmed that Victor Osimhen's contract contains no release clause, signaling the club's intent to keep the Super Eagles striker in Istanbul. He also praised Osimhen's professionalism and impact since joining the club. Osimhen is described as one of the most exciting strikers in Galatasaray history. He trains with intensity, takes excellent care of himself, and is an extraordinary professional, expected to remain with the club for many years. The 27-year-old joined Galatasaray permanently last summer for €755 million after an initial loan. He has scored 17 goals and provided 6 assists in 25 appearances this season, including 7 Champions League goals, helping the club reach the round of 16 for the first time in 12 years. Despite reported interest from Bayern Munich, his long-term future remains in Istanbul. And that's the end of our global news. Thank you for joining. Up next is our news update at 3. I am Ruth Ogbodu. Bye for now.